Hey guys, it's your course director Emily Ray here. Just wanted to go through your finalized portfolio sites and to give you some positive, productive feedback on where these need to be tweaked and where you need to polish it up a little bit as you head into your final months as an MCBS student. So I'm going to start here with corals. So a great first impression here. Immediately though, I noticed that your logo is really small. I'd like to see this expanded quite a bit. It's almost too small to even read. So this really needs to be about this size in this available space here. So I definitely recommend you increase the size there. Scrolling down, we have your name again sort of big and repeated. That would be redundant once your name is big enough to see up here, so you can go ahead and delete that. You have your tagline and then just kind of a few sentences about your career or media focus. My recommendation is that you left align those. And if you can, I would swap the picture over to this side over here so that when you left align this text, which makes it easier to read, there's a nice visual sort of boundary or alignment here. So a flat side of this picture against the flat side of this text would look nice. This is a great picture of you, Coral, but it does look a little grainy or a little bit blurry. It could just be that it's a little too low resolution for this size. So I would recommend something a bit more high res there. Scrolling down, I've got a little quote from you and then a picture, but not much else on the home page, right? So perhaps there's an opportunity here to add more, but I'm going to poke through the other pages and we'll see. So go next to resume. So here I see your education and your work experience. So this is great. I'm really loving the way that this is pulling up here on the page. We have your work here at NBC Universal. I don't know if there needs to be a space here or not. I appreciate that you put this in a bulleted list. It makes it kind of easy to read and scan, and it's also selectable text, which means that it's scannable by search engines and screen readers, things of that nature. So it's not a picture of words, so that's great. Scrolling down, I do see your media communications, education and degree listed here. It's great that you have these courses, but it's a bit sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just because you took these courses doesn't really tell me the degree to which you were successful in them, and so in that way it's sort of not that relevant to telling me about your experience. Yes, you took the courses, but your portfolio, which is what this is, a place where you can show those things. So my recommendation is if you want to list coursework or things that you've done, that you have something to somewhat back that up, to say, oh, I took let's say graphic design and communication, and here's an example of what I created. All along the MCBS program, you guys have been, you've had the opportunity to utilize a blog or to save your assignments in such a way, so that might be something for you to think about there. Jumping next to portfolio, so I'm going to scroll through, and it looks like we have a video here. Oh, they're kind of loading in, it takes a second. So one thing I notice is that as I load over it, it seems like it's starting to autoplay. I don't know if that's a setting that you can toggle, but I would recommend that you make a selection that would allow people to go ahead and choose whether or not they wanted to push play. It's always nice to give your user that option. Kind of scrolling down, I do see quite an awesome collection of work that you've done here, but I don't see enough contextualization of these projects, meaning that you show me the work, but I don't know really how to understand what you're showing me or sort of what you did within this piece, right? So I know that you are a subject that was featured in this, but that doesn't really say too much about your role in either the production, or were you just on-screen talent, or featured talent. These are things that help someone kind of understand what it is that you're trying to show them and why. Like, so this, I know it's the Real Deal Taco website, right? But this looks like it's just a screenshot. When I click on it, I do see that context here, but you're running the risk of someone not clicking on this and then not fully understanding what it is that you're trying to show them. As far as portfolios go, less is always more. You want to show your best pieces, and you want to show the range of the type of skills that you want to use in your career, right? So, as opposed to showing everything that you've done, I would focus on, the types of things that you feel are, indicative of the work that you want to do out there in the industry. I'm going to go next to contact here. So we have this nice big version of your logo. I love this color that you're using here, and when you use it, I kind of like to see more emphasis on that because it is really nice. And then we have got a contact form. What I would recommend is that like your home page and your contact page could probably be consolidated, or maybe you could even put a contact form in the footer here because I do see your contact information. Because you're not really utilizing this page for much of anything other than a form or contact information, which is something we can get here, here, and in these places as well. So something for you to think about there. And your homepage didn't have a ton of info on it, past this point, so it might be something that you can use to consolidate that. Overall, this is all of the elements are here, but a little bit more thought and care could be used on really outlining or contextualizing those portfolio projects. Why are you showing me what you're showing me, and being really choosy about those things. But overall, really pleased with what you've put together. Next up, we're taking a look at Christina's site. One thing that I'll note is that your identity, so like your name and then this tagline here, is the same size, pretty much as your body text. And what jumps out at me is this about me. And really what I should kind of be drawn to first is who this site is about, because it says about me, and then I was just like, well, whose website is this? Oh, here it is up here. So the hierarchy of the information is a little bit off. In other words, you need to make your name a little bit bigger and to jump out a little bit more here on the screen. As I scroll down, I see a bit of your drawings and some text. This is a big paragraph of text. It's kind of dense. I would recommend maybe breaking this up a little bit, either by streamlining what it is you want to say, or moving it into more paragraphs, or breaking it up into different parts here on the page. Scrolling down, I see that you do graphic design and web, and it kind of talks about your skills and education in that area. There's a lot of empty space here. I'm also curious as to why this stops right here. My recommendation would be to drag that text box out, so that it expands the full width of the page, something like that. Maybe then you have 3 columns, like one column here, one column of bullets here, and another column there. You've got your created work. I don't know if this is supposed to say creative work, but we've got your contact form here. So let's see here. I'm going to go through and select one of these to see what happens. So it doesn't seem like it seems like I can just kind of hover over this and it'll show me at kind of a slower rate. For somebody who is in a hurry, that might feel like you're forcing us to wait for something that we'd like to maybe see just as thumbnails. Like instead of kind of create these oblong shapes or the circles, I would recommend something that's a bit more uniform and consistent, right? So instead of oval and a circle, maybe just all circles, or really all rectangles would probably be the best way to showcase that work. And I was hoping that when I clicked on it, I would learn more about them, but there wasn't any information there, no context. You're showing me something here, but did you write this book, or did you do the cover art, or did you just take the picture? These are all questions that I still have about the work. I clicked on this, and it's taking me to your work page. So now here I am getting a little bit more of that context, right? So we see it's a real estate logo, but this is all kind of going through pretty quickly here. I'm not sure that I can stop it, right? So I would like control over this as a user to be able to pause it where I am most interested. And so that I can look a little bit more closely at the work. I'd also like to be able to see it in a bigger format. It's sort of strange to me too that some of these titles get cut off. I'd like to see the full title. It doesn't seem like it's something that I can click on. It looks like you've got a lot of really interesting work, but this isn't the best way, I think, for you to be displaying it. It leaves me wanting more in terms of knowing more and seeing more of the images. So I might explore one big image here and then the title and the description of the work. Also relevant is the software or the equipment that you guys use to create these things, because that is that becomes keyword rich content for your site, and it lets people know, oh, she knows how to use Illustrator, oh, they know how to use Premiere. So that's something I would encourage you to think about. Overall, you've got a nice bit of content to work with, and with a few tweaks, I think that this site can get to a much stronger place, with minimal effort. But nice work, Christina. All right, so here we have Ashley. One thing that I want to note is I see this logo up here at the top, kind of front and center, but it's small, which makes it harder to kind of see what it is. It almost looks like it's a bouquet, but I actually know that it's a brain. But at such a small, application of it here, that leaves it open to question. We have content creation through innovative thinking. That kind of signifies and kind of highlights the brain icon here. But what's missing from the top of this is your identity, right? So here we have it, Ashley, lovely, dope visionary, and dream chaser. I want to see this here up at the top. This is more important than this, but really what you need to do if you want to use this as sort of like an iconic logo is go ahead and put it right here. Make it a little bit bigger, put it, place it next to your name, but then the whole package needs to go up here at the top. Your identity should remain solid up there in the header to let everybody know at all times whose site this is. As I'm scrolling down, I see a great, collection of your work. Some of the stuff I'm looking at here, as I'm hovering over it, I like that it has the title and then it has this project was edited using Adobe Photoshop. This is what I'm talking about. You let me know, okay, this was a photo that you edited and this is what you used to edit it. That lets me know about your skill set, but it also lets me know about the software that you are competent with. So that's an important way. I'm going to go ahead and click on just to see what happens. So this opens up kind of like in a slideshow. This is a screenshot here of your vlog. It's a YouTube channel. You created it with your friend and you can see more videos here. So as opposed to a screenshot, I'm wondering, can you feature a video here? Here I have a link, and as you know, this is not the proper way to share a link. It's just the URL. It needs to be masked with a meaningful title. So like view more, or view a visit, or view a video, or view our favorite video or most popular video, something like that that has a meaningful title. As I'm clicking through, so here we do have a video. So this was a YouTube that you edited yourself. So I know this about this video, but what is it that you're trying to tell me? That you did the channel artwork? Like, why are you showing me this and then giving me the video? It's not totally clear. As I scroll down here, something was auto playing. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I heard the sound. Kind of a blanket note for everybody. You don't want any of your videos to autoplay. You want that to be a selection that your visitor makes. So here we have a nice quote, but again, like the brain logo and icon is so small. If you want to feature this as an image or an icon, really feature it. It looks somewhat of like an afterthought here. So be a little bit more intentional about what it is that you want to emphasize. Here we have your contact and ways to connect with you on Instagram and Twitter, which is great. So let's jump to the Who Am I? I have a little bit of about me. And then a gallery of like some photos, so that's nice. It kind of shows us a playful side of you and a professional side of you. Notice that when I hover over these images, what it's showing me default is the file name. My recommendation for you, because anytime with any of these CMS slideshows, you can get in there and put in a title of the image and a description, and if you don't do it, it defaults to the file name. So that's something that you can put a meaningful title in there and or description, and that's again more keyword rich content for your site to be found. Anytime you have paragraph text, you want to left align that, not center align it, because it makes it easier to read. Under what do I do? Here we have your services, graphic design, video, social media, and not much else on that page. These two pages can be consolidated, and just a simple contact form. You don't have a ton of content on your site. In fact, it all seems like it could actually be showcased kind of in a cool way as a one-pager, meaning that like you have different sections, like a kind of an introduction section, a who am I section, my work section and services section. That might be a better way than having so many pages that I have to keep clicking to get to different pages, but only getting a bite-sized bit of content. Something for you to think about there. All of the elements are here. I just kind of encourage a bit more of a strategic layout. Next up, we're taking a look at Rod Kirby's site. So I remember seeing this in courses past. You have a very interesting and compelling image here, right on the front. So to watch the teaser or the trailer for this, you're an artist, a filmmaker, and a photographer, and you're showcasing this piece. We've got all your social media here, which is great. Other ways we can connect with you online. I'm going to scroll down. I see a little bit of about you, and then a video that will explain more. What I love about this is that the thumbnail that you use tells me exactly what this video is about, so I don't have to guess. If this is compelling for me, I can press play on it. So you did a really nice job with giving me the context that I need to decide whether or not I want to play the video. Here we have some great sort of small services, the visual storytelling, filmmaker, photographer, and then some testimonials here. If you're going to use images, I would make them bigger, just because at this size they're kind of small and hard to see. And then the question is, like, if you can't really see them, why use them? So I would definitely recommend larger versions of those images if you can. Here we see your featured projects. As I hover over them, I was hoping to see some sort of title and or description. You've done a really nice job with that. And so, I can, if I'm pressed for time and can only watch a couple of things or explore a couple of things, I can make a better, more informed decision about this. So you've done an excellent job with this, Rod. I'm gonna jump next to browse the portfolio. So here, let's see, we have a number of different things. Again, we have that rollover that allows me to learn more about it. I'm going to go click on this just to kind of see what happens when I click on something. So it's loading, it's doing something. So we have, it's a photo shoot, and okay, so it looks like a slideshow. All right, this is great. So here I can see just sort of a stylized shoot that you've done and sort of the different looks that you were able to do along the way. I appreciate the way that this is organized. So here's the next portfolio piece. Got the project title and the purpose and the roles that you created on that. And I guess that these are also perhaps tags of some kind or keywords. You've just done an excellent job with providing all of the information that one might need to understand the projects that you are showing. So definitely a high five there. I'm going to go to take a look at your resume. It's loading in. Option to download the PDF, which is great, but also great that this is the keywords right here on the page. Very easily scannable. The bullets, short descriptive statements. The information hierarchy is on point, and another high five for the way that you've organized this. Visually, it's simple, but it does the job. I'm going to take a look at your blog. It's kind of interesting that this logo gets big as the page transitions. I'm not sure if that is the template or the browser that does that, but it's kind of it draws my attention to that. Here we have some different posts. I'll just click on one to see. They're featured in kind of a collage type display. This is kind of interesting. It's a bit redundant. End of summer sale, end of summer sale. The text over the top of this is a little bit difficult to read. You always want to make sure that you have enough color contrast. And then just the information about the sale that you're doing. So, it's difficult when a template puts an image somewhere and you don't have total control over it, but you need to be mindful of the images that you choose, knowing that this title is going to show up as white. And anytime you're using a background image, it's likely best that you are choosing something that is a bit less busy or less textured, because if you're putting text on top of an image, or if you're layering any elements, the thing that you put on the top is obviously priority or importance, otherwise it wouldn't be on the top. So you want to make sure that whatever that is can be seen. So learn more. So here's a video and a brief bio. and other places we connect. So I'm digging that. And then Work With Me, which that was unexpected. So it's a Google form. It's an embedded Google form. I'm curious as to why you chose an embedded Google form as opposed to something that is sort of in the site itself or within the features and functionality of the template or the platform that you're using. This seems like it's an extra unnecessary step. Your site has so much functionality that that's kind of a question mark for me. I'm sure you have an answer for that because everything on your site is so thoughtful. I'm just curious to kind of know what that is. Overall, Rod, you're at a stellar place, and a few tweaks to this, but overall super proud of what you've created because I can point to it as being an example of what you should do to highlight your projects and the work that you did on them. So let's take a look next at Megan's. So a really nice template here. We've got your name, front and center, a creative portfolio, and then kind of an interesting navigation options here. So we have welcome to my site, and then a drop down for about, and then contact and my work, and drop down to resume. Not sure why we have these folders or this cascading menu because there's so much space up here. My recommendation would be to have a home, about, my work or portfolio, resume, and contact all up here, and center align that underneath your name. You have a nice image, but unfortunately it's cut off, and so it doesn't kind of display the best that it can. My recommendation for you would be to choose something that fits better into the space and doesn't cut off half of the top of your head. You're not really utilizing the space, meaning that we've got your name and some navigation, but not much more. And this is high value real estate, meaning that this is one of the only pages that you can ensure that your visitor is going to see when they come to your domain. And so you want to give them as much information up front about who you are and what you can do, here on the home page. As I scroll down, I have this sort of welcome to your site, and it's a nice message, and here's a video, but my recommendation would be, instead to have this picture that's being cut off, this information. So bring this text up here into this area and put that video right next to it. You can feature this image probably somewhere else better, but for me to have to scroll down to get this, it's sort of kind of a layout that doesn't highlight the important part of this page, which is this information. I'm going to go to About. So here it is bringing up a page. We've got your mission statement, and we've got sort of the patterned background. I dig the background, but beneath this text, it makes the text hard to read, so therefore it's not working. There's not enough contrast. Like I told Rod, if you are layering elements, whatever's on the top is the most important and should be clearly seen, and in this case it's the text. So you need to lose this background in order to be able to see this here. This page could use more images. Instead of having that picture of you that's cut off on the front, bring it here to this page. Contact is just a simple form, and there's no call to action. Why should people contact you? Are you for hire, collaborations? Just give some direction about the type of contacts that you're hoping to see there. I'm going to jump next to my work. So you have a fictitious clothing site, novel excerpts. So it looks like these two are things that I can click on. So I'm going to click on one. It almost as if they're a blog post. So here you maybe come to this page, and now I'm clicking on this, and so now I'm being taken to another site here. But you don't really talk about like what you created and why you have a fictitious site. And my recommendation would be to screenshot this and talk a little bit about the project, why you did it, what skills you're trying to showcase, what CMS did you use, and feature that here. And I don't know if a blogging module is the best way. I think just a straight up page, since you only have 2 projects, so that you can document them more fully. And then definitely provide a link like you have, but like I had to do a number of clicks just to see what you were trying to show me or trying to get an idea, and that's just way too many. People will abandon the search. Going to my work, and then novel excerpts. So here, this looks as if it's a story that you're writing, but that's just me hypothesizing that, right? Like, it's hard for me to understand why you're showing me this. It's a novel excerpt, but is it a novel that you wrote? That's not clear. So more explanation is definitely needed so I can understand what it is that you're trying to showcase for me, right? So these are testimonials, but testimonials about what? I love the premise of this story so much. Okay, so this is praise for your story. Maybe. I'm just guessing at this point. All of that's not clear. I would like for you to think this through a little bit more as if someone's coming to your site and knows nothing about you and just kind of has come up on this on the first, for the first time. Think about how much explanation someone would need, how much context someone would need to understand what you're sharing. Last but not least, I'm going to jump here to resume, and we have your name, objective, education. So this is great. It's got a lot of keyword-rich content. It shows, what you did. But again, and this is like it's blanket feedback. This repeating background makes it hard to read this text, so it's got to go. You need a different arrangement here because it's way too much work to try to read that text above the pattern background. And this is great info, great content, but you're making it hard to see it. Overall, I'm encouraged about how much content you have, but a few stylistic tweaks to this template would go a long way in making that content easier to see. Last but not least, we're going to look at Christine's site. So we have your name, email address, and we have ways to connect with you on Facebook. And then we have a video, right? And the video itself, there's no context. It says New York Times. I'm not quite sure how that relates to you. And this says introducing Christine. See how big your name is here? It'd be better if your name was that big up here in the top so that we have more of a strong identity for the site immediately. And something that says here, it talks about your work and your projects, and it kind of identifies you as a student or as someone who's on a path of learning. That would be helpful to know higher up, right? It would give more context for potentially what this video is about. Scrolling down, it says that you're a visual storyteller. You have center aligned your paragraph text here. You need to left align that, left align this for easy readability. I dig your color scheme. I like this sort of chartreuse neon and the black. It pops really well, but it is very in contrast to the personal brand that you have on your resume that you actually are showcasing here. So there's just no consistency in terms of the style and aesthetic, and I think there's an opportunity there for you to solidify that identity, especially in terms of the visuals. You've given me a picture of your resume. At this size, I can't read it, so it's not usable, meaning that why show it if I can't read the text? Additionally, a picture of words is not scannable text or selectable text or text that can be found by search engines. So it's basically useless in this aspect. You saw on Megan's resume here, the way that she's brought that text right here on this page, the same with Rod's. That's what needs to happen here. Scrolling down, we've got your mission statement, and then a logo over here. But again, like the logo is kind of hard to decipher, kind of hard to see and understand, especially kind of in this, it's a little bit pixelized or blurry. I definitely recommend you revisit a kind of a higher resolution quality version of this. We got a quote, and then here are some of your projects down here. As I hover over them, I can see that you have, in fact, given me a little bit of information, right? Pitch presentation that I did for a customer, transforming their business card and logo. But one of the things is that you have text on top of an image that also has text, so it makes me wonder, should I be reading this as well? Why can't I read the whole thing? It's kind of a question mark there. I'm going to click on it, and when I do that, I can see what you've created here. I'd like to know a little bit more about the software that you used to create this and those sort of things. There's just more of an opportunity. One of the things that you guys can one way that you can really increase the professionalism of your portfolio projects is to create custom thumbnails for applications such as this, right? Like, so here, this is just a screenshot of Real Deal Tacos, right? And then, again, a gobbledygook or just a straight URL, which, HTTP, blah, blah, blah. This should say view full site instead of giving me all of this about wix.com/realdealtaco, etc. because that is a demonstration of what you learned in editing for the web, which is where you created this, right? That you meaningfully title your links. That's a skill that you can transfer into almost any realm that you're working with online, and something that definitely needs to be showcased in your portfolio to show that, oh, you created a website, that's great, but if you're not adhering to best practices for how to do links, it's not really the best demonstration of your skill set. So, these are things for you guys to be thinking about, when you are showcasing your projects and your work. It's like dotting your I's and crossing your T's to show that, yes, you are detail-oriented and you're putting your best foot forward with, what it is that you are showcasing on your site. So here, we do have this call to action. Interested in learning more about me, my work, or how we can collaborate, feel free to reach out. I appreciate this little bit of information, this little bit of invitation about why people should contact you. We've got other places for people to connect, your email. So this is like an image, right? But it gets cut off here down at the bottom. So it just looks unfinished or kind of incomplete, right? So these are the types of details. So this is a different visual aesthetic with sort of the paisley and the gray versus what we see here, which is like this scripted and like bright neon and blue, versus what we see here with this color combination. So definitely I think you need to revisit the idea of your brand and solidify a look and feel and carry that through both your resume and your website and all of the different aspects that we see here. Overall, guys, you are pretty far along in the program with just a couple of months left to go. There's still time for you to make wide and important changes to what you see here. None of these sites are completely done and without room to evolve. So please take the time to implement this feedback so that you can use this portfolio site as a tool to showcase what you've done, not only for the last couple of years of your life in this program to showcase what you learned, but also to create something of value so that you can use it to get a job in the area that you'd like to after graduation. If you guys have any questions about what I've shared here, please let me know.